Imagine a world where you were told you couldn't do something someone else could. Whole groups that could go about their daily lives and you couldn't do the same exact type of thing. A place where favoritism outweighs any of those other options. Well, we've lived in this type of world. A place where favoritism does outweigh those other options. How would it make you feel? It happened with slaves, women, African Americans, and now those in the gay community. It's a touchy subject involving hate, love, discrimination, governments, and religions. Recent studies show that there is a majority who support gay marriage. Supreme Courts have been debating it for the last 10 years. Some states have even adopted laws protecting those in the gay community and supporting gay marriage. But there are still so many out there who don't support it simply because they don't understand it. There are states that have even gone as far as allowing discrimination in the workplace and in daily lives, even just recently. But what it boils down to is love. We shouldn't tell others how to live their lives. How can we expect to tell others how to live if we don't want that same thing? That's not to say that we can't value opinions of others and be open-minded to the discussion that we are having today. But it's one thing to hate and support. But we need to find some common ground. In those studies, 61% of people now support gay marriage in our world, in our society. 10 years ago, this number was complete opposite. 58% of people opposed it. The Supreme Court is now deciding whether or not to allow gay marriage as a normal thing, as something that we can't discriminate against across all states. This is happening, and this is happening very rapidly. Only 3 states, North Dakota, Nebraska, and Georgia, have actually banned gay marriage. 10 states are still in the process of either allowing it, depending on litigation. All of the rest have allowed some sort of equality when it comes to gay marriage. This is fascinating and staggering when you think of the numbers previously. There's been huge increases across the board. If you look at those in the younger brackets, that's in the 30 or younger range of age, 46% now support it more than what they did 10 years ago. In a group of 65 or older, that number has gone from 18% of those supporting it to now being over 50%. That's just in the last 10 years. That's an increase that we haven't seen in 20 or so years since the last discrimination case against those in the African American community. One state, Indiana, just in the past couple months, has had their governor sign into law what's called the Freedom Bill. This Freedom Bill allows discrimination. It's wrong. It allows for anybody who believes, as according to the law, that they don't want something to be part of their community. This includes those in the gay community and those in the gay marriage equality debate. It's something that they will not recognize. This particular law came into focus because Indianapolis hosted the Final Four of the NCAA men's tournament. It's a huge event that draws a lot of attention from around the world and specifically brings a lot of major players into the game right into the city of Indianapolis. A lot of analysis and the CBS Sports, ESPN, and other networks actually opposed holding the event in Indiana after the law was signed. It was only signed about 3 weeks prior to the event, but many in those different pools of people lobbied to have it held somewhere else, simply because they didn't believe that this law was right. Discrimination in the workplace is huge, and this law supports it. When you look at the numbers, there are millions of people working in America. 4% of those people identify themselves as either gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, etc. They're part of the gay community. 21% of these people have reported some sort of discrimination. 1 in 25 complaints across the board, this is through gay and straight communities, are part of gay complaints. 96% though of Fortune 500 companies now have some sort of protection for the LGBT community. This is amazing when you think about the fact that these Fortune 500 companies have hundreds of thousands of employees, and yet they are finding ways to protect any and all of their employees that are involved. But discrimination still exists. When you look at some of the ratios, a gay man in the workplace is paid about 68 to 90 cents to every dollar that a heterosexual male is paid. These numbers are very similar to how it was when women were compared to men and when African Americans were compared to whites. And that just happened 30 to 100 years ago. And now we're going through it all over again with a different group. I'd like to recap what we just discussed and tell you why it's so important to me. We're supposed to be in a society that's democratic, something that encompasses freedom and something that allows for the discussion to be had. But nowadays, our discussions are falling apart. We're finding that opinions matter more than facts. But why is that? Why do we take to heart what other people are thinking about? Well, again, it boils down to love. Love to me is caring and understanding and wanting to learn about all of those around you and knowing how to adapt and learn from those people around you while also giving them something back to learn from you. If we say to one group that they can do one thing and to another that they can't do that same exact thing or something very similar, then how can we say that we're going to be a successful, healthy, open-minded, free society? And what are we going to do to change that? We have to open the discussion up, and we have to allow for change. And we have to allow for something bigger and better to be out there because we can't discriminate. What does it do for us? Why? Why take that breath? There's so much else in the world that we should be focusing on, that we fail to do so. And I think that this subject is one of those that we should be talking about and moving forward and fixing it. Like I said, those numbers, most people nowadays support gay marriage and gay equality. This is a very specific and very touching subject to me because I do have people in my family that are part of this community, but I also have friends that are part of this community, and I am a part of this community in the sense that I understand that equality is so important to any and all in our society. We have to think of those religious freedoms. We have to think of the government and the regulations and opinions and beliefs and things like that. But we can't hold people accountable if we don't have some sort of discussion. So, with that being said, I hope that you understand why marriage equality is important, and I hope that you can now understand the numbers and where people are coming from in the gay community that want this freedom to be able to marry who they love, who they care about, who they want to share their lives with. There are many out there who think that there are people in the gay community who force their gayness on others or their freedoms on others, or they think that they're trying to take something away from the Bible or from a specific law. But that's not the case. It just boils down to love and equality. So I thank you for your time, and I hope that this video inspires others to be more involved in this and more understanding in the subject. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you.